All right, guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about pumper systems, air helmets. There's quite a few terms people like to use for them, but we're going to put a system in the car today, and we're going to talk a little bit how they work and what's involved. So check it out. All right, guys, so what we have here is I've got a pumper setup, and I want to talk a little bit about it. The main purpose of this is to, if you're riding in dusty locations, this is going to filter your air so you get clean, fresh air in to your helmets as you're racing along and having fun. It also helps with anti-fogging as well. If you're in really cold environments and you get fogging in the helmet, this will result in helping with that as well. The other thing is it actually will keep your head cool. So if you're riding really hot temperatures, it gives you a nice kind of little air-conditioned helmet, I guess you would say. So the way I came up with this setup was a friend of mine, Jacob, had an extra pumper unit he wasn't using. And I'm going to kind of show you what he's given me and what parts I've got and how we're going to put all this together. Okay, guys, let's start with the pumper unit. So the pumper unit we have here is this LP Engineering unit. This is something that I think my buddy Jacob got off of either Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. This is basically kind of an at-home unit that someone's made. And these guys, this LP Engineering, they're basically 3D printing this double nozzle. I'm sure they make a single as well if somebody wants it. And then from here, what they basically have is, if you're familiar with boats, this is a bilge blower is basically what it is, which our engine compartment blower, which blows any gas fumes out of the engine compartment before you start it, helping to try to prevent an explosion or a fire or something along those lines. They do work very well for pumper systems because they have the right amount of airflow that comes through them. The downside to these, I've heard, is they're a little bit on the loud side, so we're going to have to keep that in consideration. The fact that my buddy gave it to me, thank you, Jacob, I feel like it's worth giving it a try. So it's got the filter down on this end, and I'm going to get a pre-filter to put over this to make it easier to clean. I just cleaned it from when Jacob used it last, and we were out in Ocotillo. Very, very, very dusty. So this is going to kind of, the pre-filter will help cleaning this out. But you can unscrew it up with with just a big hose clamp, and you can take it apart to clean it pretty easily. So this unit is going to be mounted with these GS Power brackets. These brackets are adjustable in size. They go from a range, and I'll show you the range here. So they go from 1.7 up to 1.9 inches with these various shims that they've included inside of it. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to mount this to the center bar that runs across, it's like the seatbelt bar, I guess you call it, that runs right across the center of the Can-Am X3. So these guys are going to basically, I'll show you how it's going to go. I don't know if it's going to go like this way or this way. I need to get it in the car and kind of figure it out. Basically what we've got is we're going to bolt this guy right there, and then this is going to mount right to that bar with those brackets. And then my two hoses are going to come right off the top, and we'll basically route those over to the seats. Now, for helmet-wise, you guys, if you subscribe to my channel, one of the videos that's gotten a lot of views was when I did the AFX Motorsports flat roof. So with the flat roof, I love the look. I'm really happy. I adjusted my seats a little bit down to give me plenty of headroom so I wouldn't be bumping my head against the roof or the H-bar, and that's all worked really, really well. I've been very happy. Long-term, this roof has done great for me so far. The only downside is there is a little bit of lack of headroom. It's fine, but if you start putting the blower systems right across the top, it's a big snorkel that comes out that goes across the top. And that's going to cause some problems for headroom. And there's other vehicles that have this kind of tight quarters sort of situation. So I was starting to look online, and there are several different ways that you can take or do the air helmets. So they have this one here happens to come across the top and the side. So it doesn't affect the height, and it stays pretty in profile here too. It just protrudes just a tiny bit out. So I chose this design because of the fact that I did want the air coming through the top as opposed to coming through the side. With the air coming through the side, I'm going to be running a intercom system and a helmet kit inside of it. And I've heard and read that air coming in here blows and gets to the microphone and actually causes some excess noise. So we don't want that. The other thing I've heard is that just the air coming through the top just ventilates all over the head a little bit better. I've just heard better things how that works. Now, everyone's going to have their own preferences on that, but I decided to go the top route. And G-Force Off-Road, and I got these off of Ampedoffroad.com. The guy Taylor, who I believe is the owner, he's really awesome. He was easy to work with on it. I got a couple of these helmets through them. They're nice little helmets. They're not very expensive. They're much more on the affordable side of things. They come with your visor. You just have a few screws to install your pumper intake or air intake. And then it also comes with a skirt that goes around the bottom. So it does come with the skirt, which is going to basically help, again, keeping the dust and stuff out. I still have to install those skirts. There's a Velcro strip that goes around. Pretty easy to do, but I'm going to get that taken care of soon. So at this point, what we're going to do is I've got 2 of the pumper helmets. So we're going to just do driver and passenger at this point. Sorry, kids in the back seat. Then we're going to go through and we're going to install our LP Engineering pumper system. We are going to run our wiring and we are going to plumb it into a switch. And I've already got a switch on its way. I have ordered the that Can-Am OEM style switch, which is the little dimples on it. And it also has the amber backlit. So I got a helmet air switch coming for it, which it'll match all my switches. And then after I get this mounted, I'm going to kind of gauge how long of hoses I want to get. So the hose length is obviously going to vary depending on how you approach this. Now, there's a couple ways that you can tackle this. Some people put this unit on the outside of the car, like towards the back, and then they run really long hoses that go all along the inside of the roof and drop down. That is a cool idea because it gets this guy far away from you so you don't have the sound of it. The downside to that is you're obviously going to lose some of your airflow as it basically works its way through that rippled tube. It's definitely going to affect the flow of air. Then also you just talk about logistics of running these long tubes and such. Putting it inside the car, I'm going to be able to run some pretty short tubes, and I'm getting that air that's in the middle of the car, which is kind of getting a little bit deflected, I think, from some of the dust and the dirt. Maybe on the outside it might be worse. I don't know. That's hard to say. But anyways, I'm going to get the hoses. I'm going to probably get some PCI hoses. They make a really nice pumper system, quite more expensive than something like this, but their hoses are very reasonable and they work really well. So we're going to get this guy mounted. Then we're going to order up some hoses. I'm going to get my wiring done on it. And then we're waiting for our pre-filter as well. So once I have all those components, I can get this full system together and give it a test. And we are going to be going out in a few weeks to Ocotillo Wells again. If there has not been a lot of rain, it will probably be very, very dusty, which will be a great chance to put this guy to work and just see how it goes. So I'm going to start putting some things together here. I'm going to start by mounting the pumper unit. I want to get that in place so I can start measuring and get my hoses on order. And then from there, we'll start putting some wiring together and get ready for our switch to show up. All right, guys, so let me get started on this and I'll show you what we got. All right, guys, so, we got our brackets on. So there they are. I just had a couple bolts lying around that seemed to line up. I'll tighten these down and adjust them. So you kind of put these one way. You could put it here or here. So you could mount it this way. You could mount it this way, and you could rotate it. I'm going to try going this way just so the filter is right up top and easy to get to for cleaning. But if I don't like the way it sits, I will go back and just flip it over and go the other way. I think it could work fine either way. And then from there, I've got these little guys. These are the ends. So you get them on the pipe. You slide these guys through, and then you clamp it down and you put your shims in, so it's going to bolt right to that crossbar. And I will show you on my car where we're going to do it. So it's a little dark in here inside the car. We're going to mount it right there. So this is right in the center between the two seats. So then the hoses are going to come right out to each seat, and we should be good to go. So let me try to get it mounted, see how it looks, and I'll make adjustments if necessary. All right, guys, so I decided to mount the air filter down. The reason I did that is when the air filter is up here, it's kind of protruding on the vision of the passengers. So I want to make sure we got a nice clear view. It might have even started coming into play on my rearview mirror vision coming back there, and I didn't want that. So having the filter down here keeps it nice and out of the way. Again, we'll put a pre-filter over that to help with the cleaning. Kind of cool because the label goes this way too, so it looks nice. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to route our two hoses. We're going to go up and around the back of this chair here. So I'm going to kind of put some mock-ups to figure out what length hose I want to get. And then I'll order up my hoses. We can get those installed. Then from there, we just got to wire up our power. So all we got to do is get our power switch set up, which I have a feeling I might run the power switch in one of these spots down here. I do have an extra spot up in the dash too, so I could utilize that if I wanted. But I'm going to figure that out, and we'll go from there. So let me do some measuring, order some hoses, and we'll come back and we'll finish off the install and see how it works. All right, guys, so we had some parts arrive. So as you can see here, we got our hoses from PCI. I went with the RaceAir hoses. I did a little bit longer hose for the driver, and then I did a shorter hose for the passenger. Because my helmet, since the air enters on the left-hand side, I wanted to route the hoses to the left-hand side of each seat, which worked out perfectly. You can also see that we got our outerwear pre-filter there, so that showed up, which was great. It fit perfectly. Their ordering process is really cool. You just have to measure up the dimensions of your air filter, and you can pick different colors. I like blue, so that's what I went with. Now, the RaceAir hoses do fit really well on the LP Engineering helmet air system. You do have to work them over pretty good. You can see they bulge out a bit right there, but that's good. It means they're going to stay tight, which is really great. Now, what I did decide to do was I chose to mount my air switch up front on my control panel. I wanted the air switch to be really accessible because I have a feeling I'll be turning it on and off based on different circumstances. Now, as far as the noise goes, which was my concern with the LP Engineering helmet air system, it was way better than I thought it was going to be. Now, it definitely has some noise, and I'm going to turn it on for you. So you can hear it. It makes a pretty good amount of noise. Now, here's the thing. Despite the fact that it makes a good amount of noise, when my car is running, when I have the engine running, when I turn that thing on, you really don't hear it very well. Now, keep in mind, I have the Agency Power Valvetronic exhaust system, which is an aftermarket exhaust, so it's a little bit louder. But it's one of those things where I think even on a stock car, it wouldn't be too bad. Now, as far as the air coming into the helmets, it's not bad. You can hear it. It's not very loud. I feel like it's fine. So in all actuality, I'm really happy with this system. You know, it's inexpensive compared to some of the more higher end brand products that are out there. And the fact that it works really well when I'm driving around the road, because I went for a ride around the block in it, turned it on, and man, it just kind of faded right out. It didn't bother me one bit. The airflow was perfect. It worked really, really well. Now, as far as my wire routing goes, I'll show you where I routed it. So the wiring comes out the side of the LP Engineering unit, and then I put some loom over it, and it runs actually right through my rear seat pad. So this is a seatbelt cover, and I actually routed it right through there. I have a couple connectors I still need to cover, but that's it coming down there. And then what I did is, if you're not familiar with on the Can-Ams, I don't know about the non-Max, but on the Max version, sorry, the car is really dirty. There's a channel right here that you can run all the way down and run it across. So that allowed me to run the wiring back across and up under the seat and right up into my dash system nice and clean. So that's how I ran the wiring. You could also, if you wanted to, run the wiring just straight down off of the unit into the center console. You'd have that wire exposed there, but hey, you got a wire exposed here anyway, so it kind of is what it is. So guys, super happy with running the air system. I will tell you that, you know, I haven't really put it to any real use yet because obviously I've just driven around my neighborhood, which is nice, clean air. But I am heading out to Ocotillo next weekend, so I'm excited to give it a try. And on a future video, I'll give you an update of how well I like it, but I have a feeling it's going to be really good. By the way, these PCI hoses are super nice. The LP Engineering, it does come with a set of hoses when you buy the kit. My buddy Jacob had kept them for his unit that he's running, so I had to, of course, get my own hoses, but hey, you know, the price was right. These hoses do not collapse like the ones that come with this guy. It's the same. The ones that come with the LP Engineering are very similar to the rugged radio style. These are a lot thicker and more robust, but they don't have the collapsibility and flexibility. So I think that's kind of a trade-off. I'm going to try these, see how they go. I might try jumping in my buddy's car and run his system and see if I feel like it's any different. But overall, guys, pretty awesome setup. Really happy with it. Got my switch ready to go. Just flip that baby on and fresh air. So guys, until the next video, that's pretty much it. Please like and subscribe if you do find the video helpful. Any comments below, and we'll see you on the next video.